Hi, I'm QDC. What we're about to build today is Tamiya's Kubelwagen, and this is a 1/35th scale. The reason why I'm building this particular kit is because this is part of a diorama of really just something I wanted to build since I came back from Paris last year. At the time of this recording, I went to Paris for the first time, and there I really get to see with my own eyes Hitler's craziness against the Jews. Over in Paris, there is a community of Jews there, and I really get to see firsthand what Hitler done to these innocent people, where they simply just took them out of the community and then put them in concentration camps. I also saw that that the Hitler's military also destroyed synagogues there and also vandalized businesses over there as well. And so from that, I was inspired to actually build a diorama about Hitler's craziness in Paris. So I decided that I want to build the Kubelwagen along with Masterbox's Checkpoint. And then I'm going to add an older kit that I built a few years ago for mini art called Sevastopol 1941. So I'm going to add all these three kits together, and it's going to be an exciting diorama for me to show about the Jewish persecution in Paris, in France. So let's go ahead and start building this kit right now. Let's go take a look inside this box. We have the decal, lower body, wheels, and the hood, seats, figures, and parts of the drivetrain, and the instruction sheet. What you're looking at right now is the wheel, and on the bottom of the wheel you see that I used an emery board to flatten the bottom side out a little bit because it was perfectly round. And the reason why I did that is because when weight rests on a tire, it's no longer perfectly round. There's going to be an indentation at the bottom. So by using this emery board to file the bottom portion down makes it look more realistic. Okay, so we built the model kit, and now it's time for me to show you what I think about this kit so far. Take a look. This is the computer model kit after painting and weathering, and this is a very good kit for its time, and even today. This classic kit that was first produced back in 1997 has withstood the test of time. It's highly detailed, and there's nothing wrong with this kit. All the details are very nice and crisp, and it looks very realistic. And the better part of this kit is that it was easy to build. So I highly recommend this model kit for both the advanced modeler and also for the absolute beginner. If you never built a kit before, this kit would be a perfect kit for you to build for the very first time. And what you're going to get is a very nice detailed model. It's time for me to paint the model. Alright, so before we start painting the model kit, I want to point out a small mistake. At the beginning of the review of the model kit before painting, I said that this kit was already painted already. Of course it wasn't. It was a slip of the tongue, and that's my little small mistake I want to apologize for. But before we start painting this model kit, I want to build Masterbox's checkpoint next. Now, this is going to be boring for you to watch because there's a lot of small parts, and I don't think for the most part that you're going to like watching me build this model kit. But I have a solution. Now, instead of actually having you watch me do this very slowly throughout for a long time, I'm going to do some magic. Now, I happen to have a magic wand right here in my hand, and by using this magic wand, I'm going to speed things up. I'm going to create some magic for you to watch, in which you'll be a little bit better entertained for you to watch me build this kit for Masterbox. So here's my magic wand. I'm going to turn it on like that, and now I'm going to perform some magic. So here we go.
it's time to paint the model. Before I start giving the model the first undercoat, I'm going to give it mud effects first. When I took a look at pictures of the real Kubelwagen, I noticed that the mud starts right over here when it splashes around. And so I'm going to use this putty right here and apply it to make mud effects. I already gave the model a base coat of black, and now it's time for me to give the model the main color. I'm going to paint the mud by dry brushing. I'm going to add some chip paint.
Alright, so we built a model kit, and now it's time for me to show you and explain the Kubelwagen, how I built it from the beginning to the end. Take a look.
This is the completed model kit after painting and weathering, and I really do like the weathering technique that I've done for this car, for this model kit. I especially like the mud effects. It does look convincing to me, and the overall grime that I placed on this model kit looks convincing. I like my work a lot. There's one thing I forgot to mention to you about, is the colors that I use for painting this model kit. When you look at this model kit, it looks like one color, gray, but it's actually not. It's made out of 4 colors, and I'm pointing at the actual colors that I used to paint this model kit. This is the shadow, the base color, the highlight, and the bright highlight. And I use all these 4 colors to make this model kit look as the way it is. But when you look at it, it seems to be one color, gray, and that's an optical illusion. So now it's time for me to complete the entire project. I'm going to add this car, this kit, along with the figures and the building that I built a few years past, and combine that and make it into a diorama. I just finished giving the finishing touches of this model kit that I made a few years past. This model kit is an old model kit that I built, and it's called Sevastopol 1941, and it's made by Mini Art. And what I've done for this older model kit that I built is I repainted the cobblestone street, so there is a distinction between the street and the sidewalk. I added extra rubble right here, and how I done that was I used Pasteur Paris. Then I used a hammer, smashed it up, and used that as rubble, extra rubble, to put onto the street. I added this lamppost, And I went ahead and bought aftermarket posters of a French cafe and placed that here in front and also on the side of this building. I want to focus your attention onto this graffiti right here. If you look carefully, you notice that there's a Star of David and the German name for Jew, which is Jude. Now, for my research about the occupation of France, I concluded that most of the vandalism that was done during the occupation was actually performed by the German military. So I added the word Jude on this building to represent that the German military destroyed this building simply because it was owned by Jews. And right below it, you see a symbol right there with the words FFI. That symbol is a symbol of the French resistance. And the words FFI stands for Force Française de l'Intérieur, which means the French Freedom Forces of the Interior. What you're looking at right now is the base for the diorama. And this base is a wooden plaque that I purchased at my local craft store. What I've done was I used a combination stain and finish from a company called Minwax, and I applied that combination stain and finish several times to give this piece of wood a nice rich color.
All right, so we built all the three model kits, and now it's time for me to show you the entire diorama from the beginning to the end. Take a look.
This is the completed diorama after adding all the three kits together. And this is the best diorama that I have built in my hobby. When I look at this diorama, I do feel like I'm being transported back in time, back in the 1940s in occupied Paris, in occupied France, where the German military has destroyed a Jewish business, and now they're demanding identification from anybody who they suspect who are Jewish. And this is a very good story that I've done from making these three kits and putting them together. I like it a lot. The painting of the figures looks convincing to me, and the painting and weathering of the Kubelwagen looks very impressive. This is the best work that I've done so far, and I'm proud of myself for making it.
That completes this model project. What you're about to see is a video slideshow of the entire diorama, but before I go, as always, just because I put this video here on YouTube, it doesn't make me a model kit expert. I am not an expert. I'm just a regular guy just like you. And I hope this video encouraged you to build a model kit of your own. So this is a educational diorama, And so I'm going to add a unusual song for you to listen to when you watch this video, this slideshow. What you're about to hear is a propaganda song made by the German military, and the song was targeted for the British people. It's an anti-American and anti-Jewish song, and the hopes of Hitler was that maybe by having the British listen to the song, they'll turn disfavor towards the Americans and also encourage more hatred towards the Jews. So what they've done was they took a popular song during his time, a jazz song called Making Whoopee by Eddie Cantor, and they simply took the original lyrics out and added their own lyrics into it to make it an anti-American and anti-Jewish song. So you're going to hear two songs in this video, in the slideshow. The first song is the original song by Eddie Cantor called Making Whoopee, and then right after that you're going to hear the German propaganda version of that same song. So this is an educational diorama, and so at the end of the video I'm going to add a link. It's a documentary link, I consider it as a fairly good documentary link to why people hate Jews. So if you're interested, please watch it. I'm QDC, and thanks for watching.
Every time I hear that dear old wedding march, I feel rather glad I have a broken arch. I have heard a lot of married people talk, and I know that marriage is a long, long walk. To most people, weddings mean romance, but I prefer a picnic or a dance. Another bride, another groom, another sunny honeymoon, another season, another reason for making whoopee. The choir sings, here comes the bride, another victim is by her side. He's lost his reason, 'cause it's the season for making whoopee. Down through the countless ages, you'll find it everywhere. Somebody makes good wages, somebody wants her share. She calls him Toodles and rolls her eyes. She makes him strudels and bakes him pies. What is it all for? It's so he'll fall for making whoopee. Another year, or maybe less. What's this I hear?
USA have asked Eddie Cantor to write a new version of his famous old-timer Makin' Whoopee. In one of his latest programs on the air, he sang the following song. Another war, another prophet, another Jewish business trick, another season, another reason for making whoopee. A lot of dough, a lot of gold, the British Empire's being sold. We're in the money, thanks to Frankie, we're making whoopee. Washington is our ghetto, Roosevelt our king. Democracy is our motto. Think what a war can bring. We throw our German names away. We are the kikes of USA. You are the boys, folks. We are the boys, folks. We're making whoopee.